Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Didisave, a gaming podcast. We talk about games, how do they change, and blah, 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 blah.
It's also how they change us.
That was awful.
That's an important detail.
Awful.
You were doing so well, I was ready to be like, see, Ryan, that's how you do an intro.
I'm just kidding.
Gosh.
All right, I'm doing it again. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Didisave, a
Hello.
gaming podcast. We're going to talk about how games change and how they change us. I'm Tay, I've got with me
I'm Ryan.
the interrupting Ryan, and then I've got with me Jared here.
I didn't want to be rude. You said hi.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to talk
Got
about
him.
games that were better than we expected them to be.
Yeah. So I don't have any, obviously.
Okay.
We've already talked about most
Yeah.
disappointing games, and I just researched the heck out of all my games.
Well, we're looking at the flip side of that, man. You thought it was good, but then you played it and you were like, this is even better
I know.
than I thought it was.
Down to the molecule of dopamine, how much I will
I
enjoy
don't
a
believe
game.
that at all.
No, I've got a couple.
Okay.
I've got two. And they are doozies.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I've been excited to talk about this one.
Okay, cool. Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Oh, let's
start with you.
let's make a new formula last episode and have the host go first, and then let's make Ryan go. I think the formula is Ryan goes first.
I mean, yeah.
That's the new formula.
I mean, gonna put you.
Okay,
just-
fine.
I'm
Okay.
not going to argue.
I
Game.
met Jared, and then he
That's
said,
true. That part's true.
he said, "Hey, come have a sleepover at my house."
We've
And I'm like,
already talked about this game.
and I'm an adult, and he's like, "Come have a sleepover."
I didn't
and
call it a sleepover.
he said, "Come break your jams, and bring some vanilla Coke and some
Listen,
bagel
is
bites."
this a podcast or an indictment?
A little bit of both.
I'm on trial here.
and I bring my sleeping bag and my jams and my pillow
You didn't bring any of that.
and
You
my
didn't
laptop.
bring a pillow. I was like, you didn't bring a pillow?
and my laptop, and we stay up all night playing this game called Titan Quest.
Oh, it's a different one.
Yeah.
This is hand me one of them toucans.
Yeah. I didn't have high expectations for Titan Quest.
Boy, did I not either.
It looks so bad.
I think we bought it on sale because even when
Yeah.
we bought it, it was kind of old.
Yeah, and the aesthetic I don't go for. Like it's like Greek mythology, so it's like just I don't know. A lot of the armor, like the aesthetics of it, just looks ugly to me.
Yeah.
Monster designs are like meh, whatever.
Yeah, they're meh. But man, I could not put it down. We could not put it
my
down to the
gosh.
point where we killed Jared's laptop.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
he had to get a new laptop.
Yeah, I overheated my laptop, and just cooked that bad boy.
Yeah.
we played all night.
Yeah.
And into the morn. The thing about that game that really caught me off guard is, so there's all these different skill trees, but they're like elements, right? So
There's like spirit. And
yeah, not just earth,
earth,
wind, water, but like
yeah.
poison and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. There's all this stuff.
And
But
really good
when
ways
you can
to-
build
yeah.
as far as you want into any of them,
Yeah.
and it just starts combining.
So you can
all these
multi-class, and like your character is really different from any other playthrough you're going to
Yeah,
do.
the level of flexibility was just
Yeah.
mind blowing to me. I never expected it to be that well
And
developed.
it jumps to the setting takes place not just in Greek mythology, like you start off in Greek mythology, like you're fighting like Medusa and like stuff like that, but then you like Cyclopses, and then you move on to Egyptian lore.
Cool. Yeah.
You go to different settings. I think they had DLC.
There was definitely DLC. There's a sequel too, as well. I don't know that
Titan
we ever
Quest
played
2
Titan
is
Quest
not
2, but
out yet.
is that true? I thought it came out like a long time ago.
You can hear the silence. Like you can hear the static of
Pulling it up
nothing.
on
It'll
Yeah.
be easy for you to spot
Titan
this
Quest
on the
For
audio.
sure, yeah.
Titan Quest 2 is coming to Steam soon. Add it to your wish list.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
That is
I
crazy.
guess I will add it to my wish
Yeah.
list because I'm down for some more Titan Quest.
Yeah, I would.
It definitely had DLC
Oh, yeah.
because we got a bundle for like $13.
Yeah, they had a remaster that came out. They got
okay.
HD remaster,
Maybe that's what I was
which
thinking
I
of.
didn't play. That's probably what you're thinking of. But yeah, Titan Quest 2 is I think supposed to come
I
out later
forgot
this
all
year.
about that game.
Yeah, it's a good game. I mean, it's like a Diablo style game, but
Yeah.
it's more like an old like Diablo 2
Yeah.
than it is
Yeah,
Diablo 3
for
or
sure.
4. Which
But it
is-
was just like, the thing is, I think that the skills had a meaningful impact on lots of different parts of combat. Like
Yeah.
how far you can attack is determined by like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's like wind spells would
Yeah.
focus on a certain style of play, right? Like so distance. But then when you start combining that with like poison or something, then your attacks are obviously doing like damage over time, but
Yeah.
at a really long. So
You-
whatever you can imagine, it's easy to be like, I want to fight this way. I think I
you can
just
do
need
that.
to do these elements instead of having to like filter through every skill in a skill tree and be
Yeah.
like,
You invested points in a tree, and then that would like raise a bar on the left, which allowed you to unlock the skills on the right, and you could invest extra points into those skills. So you had to like invest points into a skill tree to be able to invest points in the skills of that skill tree,
okay.
if I remember it correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds right to me. But yeah, I don't have.
Just lots of loot dropping all over the place.
Oh,
just
so much.
smashing enemies left and right. And it was, I don't remember how many players it was. I mean, you just,
I think it was
played
at
it.
least 4, right?
Didn't this,
yeah.
isn't it like, didn't this game come out in like 2000?
That's old.
I was going to say, it's very old.
pretty old.
Yeah.
There's a
THQ,
remaster.
THQ Nordic.
The thing is, I don't remember it looking that bad. But I'm
It's just
sure
kind
it
of
did.
grainy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The animations look good, but I mean,
I think the other
repetitive.
thing is with games like that where the aesthetic is just not appealing to me, I don't care as much about the graphics because I'm like, I don't care that I can't see this dumb looking armor.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't really
you would
notice it.
get like, it would just be like a leather strap to like this leather chunky thing, but like your shoulders are exposed.
Yeah, you look like
Yeah.
a butcher
Yeah,
running
you
around.
always look like a butcher.
Yeah.
I never was like satisfied with the
Yeah.
way
With the
my
way it looks.
character
Yeah.
looked, man.
And this was well before like transmog stuff where you can make your gear look like whatever you wanted. So
Yeah.
you were just
Yeah,
stuck
I
with
don't
this
remember a
hodgepodge.
transmog system.
Yeah.
If there was one, I
My
don't think so.
conquistador helmet with
Yeah.
my like
Yes.
kilt on or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. Yeah.
just
So what about it was better than you thought it was going to be?
Oh, I
So-
mean, like it just looked like an awful game.
That's I think
Like,
honestly though that is a big part of it is that the expectations were low specifically because nothing about the
Yeah.
visual aspects of the game.
I don't
spoke
even know
to us.
why we played it.
I don't either. I
don't remember specifically why we played
okay.
it,
Just
but I
curious,
just remember
yeah.
being like,
Yeah.
"This is just gonna be like not as good as Diablo," because Diablo's aesthetic was like
Yeah.
Diablo 2 was out at the time, maybe Diablo 3.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's not going to be as cool looking as Diablo. Why would I play this? And I was
Right.
like, oh, I'm super into it. I don't,
Yeah, it
Just
just
super addictive game.
felt really fun to play. Like
Yeah.
the combat was really satisfying in the same way that like
And it was exciting to level up because you get to go into this skill tree and get these new cool skills that actually did different things.
actually
Yeah.
mattered
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
being like
The-
5%
I
more
think
attack
that's-
speed.
Right. Yeah.
That's what separated it from Diablo and what drew me into it more than
Okay. Yeah.
Diablo 3 was the customization you had to your character. Because Diablo, you pick a class and you can like choose your skills among that class.
I'm like, yeah,
This
I
game
see.
is just like, do what you
Do
want.
whatever you want.
It's
Okay.
up to the
Do what you
player.
want.
Yeah. I've never played Titan Quest, but I know what it is,
well,
and I've seen.
We could all play Titan Quest 2 when it comes out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm definitely down for that.
Yeah. Sounds good. I'm down.
And that's my game.
Nice.
Let's hop on the subway to the Segway.
To Gerald.
The Segway subway.
Oh, so it's me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, so we just go. What are we playing? A board game? Is it what counterclockwise? What's happening?
I don't know. You guys make the rules and I show up.
No, it's fine. I mean, if you want to talk about games that have.
Thanks to Sam Webster. Thanks to
We just do the one this week.
Yeah, exactly.
you can hit us up anywhere you can find
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, you were doing so good.
Yeah.
If
Way
you're on
better
the,
than last
on the
time.
streets, we sometimes walk
See,
on the streets.
It's easier when you're not the host
Yeah.
to end the show.
yes, oh, so good.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Mine is I don't know if it's really obvious or one that you would never guess. I'm not really sure, but it's Near Automata. Is that an obvious one or is that one you'd never guess?
It's an obvious one.
Okay. I don't know if it's obvious or
Wait,
not because
You didn't expect it to be good?
no, that's the
'Cause you're
thing is it's so much better than I thought it would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm coming from
sense.
Near, right? Which is for me was a game all about its narrative.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack, great characters. I loved the story. I love the way that the story is told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the combat is just so generic.
It's there.
Could not be worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
like, could definitely be worse, actually.
Yeah.
The problem is that it is so mid tier.
Yeah.
That it is like, this is literally just a function to get through this game. I don't care about any of this. And to the point where you would see people online being like, what do I do to make the combat more bearable? Because I just want to get through it. And people are like, well, this is the exact build you're going to want to use to make the combat go as quickly as possible so that you can get over it.
It's the same reason they put trees in the game. If you didn't have trees, you'd be like, there's no trees.
Yeah.
Where are the trees?
Why are
like,
there no trees?
They got done with like, where's the combat?
And they're like, no fight? And they're like, oh, crap, we forgot. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go put a big sword. Big sword.
Big sword.
Big sword.
And a small sword. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just here to tell a story. So when they announced a sequel to it, which I didn't even know that it was going to get for sure, because it's like very much a cult classic, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm like, honestly, please just like tell me more story in the same way. Like just
how are they going to nail that again though, right?
Right, exactly. It's first of all, it's like, okay, if they're making a sequel, and then they announced that Platinum Games was making the sequel, and I was like, okay. Platinum Games, like their whole reputation, for people who don't know, is that they have combat down pat. They do the best combat. They do the most interesting combat.
Can you give an example of a game?
Bayonetta.
Okay.
They did one of the Metal Gear Solid games, I believe. Revengeance. They did.
So like Devil May Cry style.
Very much Devil May Cry style. Very flashy. Very combo focused. Like levels of complexity. They tend to do a really good job making combat where if you just want to button mash your way through, you can.
You can.
But the more you're willing to invest. Weep. Is it going? Okay. It's combat where the more you're willing to invest, the more you'll get out of it. And so you see people doing these really super crazy combos and stuff. Like one great example, just to derail this whole conversation.
Good.
Is I personally am not a huge fan of Bayonetta, but I played way more of that game than I would have because the combat is so engaging.
Yeah.
And they have a whip that is a snake. And it is timing based combos, and it's a weapon that like tends to do a lot of damage and is very powerful. But if you ever miss a button prompt, it will bite you instead. So you have to like master it perfectly, or you will kill yourself with the whip. Yeah, literally. And it was just like really interesting weapons like that, very creative and out of the norm. So I was like kind of relieved because I knew the combat would be on point. But then my new concern is, okay, are they going to lean so far away from focusing on story and characters and stuff that the thing I liked about Nier is going to be turned into, a popular action game or whatever. Not that at all. Every moment I was playing that game, I was like, how can this game be this good? It is unreal. They do the same things that I loved about Nier, but in a whole new way. The ending is unreal. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't beaten it.
I haven't beat it.
Okay.
I haven't played it.
Never mind. You should play it.
Don't spoil.
Yeah, there are really cool elements to the way that the game brings you in. There's like a fourth wall breaking element to the storytelling that is novel and unique and not just like kind of like a novelty.
She just looks at the camera, right? Says
Right.
thanks for playing.
And winks.
Yeah. Okay.
And she says,
Deadpool style.
that's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. So that game just kind of exceeded my expectations on every level, despite the fact that I was super hyped for that game.
Yeah.
So I have to put it on this list because it was one of those games where I was just like, man, I've never had a game like just slay every level of execution that I was worried it wouldn't be able to perform on.
Right.
Because the original was just such a unique experience for me. I never thought they'd be able to replicate it in the same way.
Yeah.
And they just one-upped it across the board.
It was one of those games for me where I was like, I wasn't interested in the sequel because I was interested in the first game for a very specific reason, and that is the narrative. And the second game, like just from like the marketing and like the way they portrayed it, I didn't think it was going to be focused very much on narrative. The characters looked like they were going to be very like one layered kind of characters, and I was like, I'll wait for reviews, and then just never end up.
You don't think it's interesting to name the character 2B?
I didn't even know that.
And then have a character named not 2B?
No, I didn't know that.
Their name isn't not to be, but it's just like everything in that game is like a little puzzle piece for the subtext of it. It's basically just an exploration of philosophy.
Does it have like does it give you a reason to play the game again, like Nier does?
Yeah. So it's the same way that Nier functions, except eventually. So you play from completely different perspectives
Yeah.
instead of just being able to like, in the original Nier, when you beat it, you play through the same game again, but with a whole new level of information
And
being
you
given to you.
You get more context for the story.
In this one, you play as the main character, and then you play as the person who is with them, and then you play as a character that you don't meet until much later in the game.
Interesting.
So it's telling the story from just multiple perspectives, but you're getting new story with each perspective because they're like separating and exploring stuff and everything. There's nothing about that game. Everything about that and like all those little weird things that I just talked about, that same level of like weird attention to detail and like winky nodness is in every corner of that game. And that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah. Well, speaking on being put in very interesting situations.
Now here's a segue.
Oh, dude, I actually can guess.
Oh,
Is this Brawlhalla?
No. What?
Brawlhalla would have been a good one though. That game did surprise me.
Yeah.
It's got crazy characters. It's got multiple choices, and I did not expect this game to be as in depth and had as much detail, and for me to like love it as much as I did. And this is Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay. Interesting.
I went in with I watched the combat of this game because I was like, I don't know anything about the Baldur's Gate, anything.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not a super
Have you played
big-
Divinity at all?
No, not before.
Okay.
It was only after.
Yeah, I mean, you're going in pretty blind at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I can't remember if you guys were like, yeah, this game's great or whatever, blah, 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 or whatever. So,
I mean, I definitely was.
yeah.
He
And
was
so,
in early access, which I wasn't, but I had higher expectations because him talking about it got me pumped to play it.
yeah.
I had high expectations because I beat Divinity 100 times.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah.
So, but I'm watching like gameplay of it because I'm a very much like it's got to have like some kind of gameplay. I have to watch the gameplay otherwise, like what I mean. It's like it doesn't really matter how like the story is. It's like it's got to be there's a few exceptions or whatever, but I want it to be fun to play if it's going to be the thing you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm watching gameplay and I'm like, wow, this looks so bad, dude. I'm like not into this at all, and I'm like, but I'm just like, everybody's like, it's so good, blah 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 blah. Anyways, I buy this game, and I'm staying up to like 2 a.m. playing every single night,
Yeah.
dude. I'd get home at like 9 o'clock and stay up to like 2 or 3 a.m. and the next day I'd be like, oh my god, I can't do it again.
Yeah.
And then I get home
But
and I
then
do
you
it
do it
again all
again.
over again.
And then I
dude.
would do it again.
Yeah. The level of detail in this game is insane.
Yeah.
It is truly.
And it's like they built it with like a clear intention of the game that they wanted to make. And having characters like leave your party because they don't like the decisions you're making is like, it's going to change the format for gaming forever.
Yeah.
This game specifically.
I think it's super smart to do that because you don't want these characters around like nagging every decision you make
Exactly,
or like seeing
yeah.
like a little thing like they don't like that decision every single time. It's like they just leave.
Yeah.
'Cause
They're
they
like,
don't
I
agree.
literally I can't stand this anymore. And I don't like the direction you're going and I'm leaving.
And it makes the characters more believable.
Exactly, dude. And it's like,
it makes me anxious though because I want all the characters in my party so I
absolutely.
can see everything.
For
I have
sure.
to like let go of
I'm
that.
like, I want to say this, but I'm going to say this because I know he's going to get mad.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
We were fighting earlier this morning already. I don't want to make him mad again.
yeah.
I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll be good. But I can change.
Yeah. Like I've played games with like,
I'll be bad.
story driven elements and you can pick good or bad or whatever. But this game, it's like, it actually matters.
Yeah.
And you can actually go one way or the other instead of it just being like, well, you made a bad decision, but everybody's still following you around. And it's like, that's, for every game, it's like, oh, you still want to play it, but it's like that, it actually matters for every single decision that you make. And it's like, there's next to nothing.
I'm actually playing
like
it right now with a Dark Urge playthrough on honor mode, which is where if you die, you're done. You have to start all over.
Oh, really?
And it's
Okay.
been a blast.
Yeah.
It is stressful.
Oh, I'm sure.
I
dude.
almost died and
That's rough.
I saved myself. I had Asterion as the only one left
Oh,
on the
okay.
red cap fight in the swamp. Thought I was ready. I was not. Took an invisibility potion
Yeah.
and crawled my way out of that fight. And-
I must go.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually got a successful hold hold person cast on me, so
Okay.
Asterion couldn't move for
Oh,
like 2
nice.
turns.
Yeah.
And then I was like, 2 HP left and like crawled away with an invisibility
Yeah.
potion and then rezzed my team and then absolutely wiped out the red caps on the
Right.
next try.
Yeah.
But whew.
Yeah.
Intense.
It's incredible. But I mean, like, even like if you have a locked door and you don't have the key for it, you're like, I'm just going to break the door down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like options like that. And I
Yeah.
said, I've never played Divinity before this, so I didn't know that you could do that or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, for me, sorry, you hit that. For me, this game was like blowing my mind. This is going to this game will set the standards forever for so many games that are going to come
The
out.
thing is, they are such a unique beast in the game developer world that I think a lot of companies are going to try to do this.
Oh, for sure.
And they're not going to be able
Yeah.
to
I agree.
capitalize on
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Because they had the thing is, like, it's not even about the variety of alternatives you have. Like you were saying, like, it's not just locked door or break door. It's like go steal the key from somebody or turn invisible or find a new route through. There's
Right.
there's 5 solutions to every problem.
Yeah.
And it works at so many different levels. Like you were saying, like, you can miss entire party members. You never even recruit them.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
So like you can't say from a developmental standpoint, well, they'll have this character in their party, so we can make sure that they can do this because this character will have the skill set.
Right.
You can't do that. You can't say, like, well, they're functioning at this difficulty or whatever, because the game works so well with like playing on like honor mode. Or Dark Urge mode is like a completely different narrative structure that makes you make completely different decisions, or gives you at the very least different ramifications for the same decisions.
Yeah.
So it makes you think differently about how to make them. Like, there's so many levels that this game has to function at, and somehow it manages to pull it off while also being a game that gives you so many choices in how to do those things. Like, how can they possibly balance these two things as well as they do?
Yeah.
And it just seems like a miracle that this game turned out as well as it did.
Yeah.
And if this were a Bethesda game, can you even imagine
I can't
how
imagine.
glitchy this game would be and how janky it would be and how dumbed down they would have to make it to get it out the door?
Right.
I mean, look at Starfield. Look at, like, they couldn't even manage to make another Skyrim, like, a decade after Skyrim.
Right.
And then they come along and make this game that is just like so nuanced and so complex and in-depth, and it's just crazy. Like, still to this day, people are finding new things in that game, or like new paths with characters and stuff like that. Like, it just blows my mind. There is no game that I can think of that has managed to execute on this level, this scope of game.
They released a statistics page where they were keeping track of like the different endings people have gotten, like the parties people have, the decisions people make, and there are like scenes that only like 2% of players have actually seen, because you have to be so specific about how you get to it.
doing. Yeah.
I know there are characters that you can recruit, that you can have in your party, that I've never even seen.
Those
Never even met 'em.
There's a few characters that are nods to the first Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, which you can get in your party in Act 3.
Okay.
I believe Jaheira and
There's one in Act 2 that's like a dark elf, right?
talking about Jaheira. Oh no, the dark elf, the Oathbroken Paladin.
You have to, I think so, but you have to.
That's her name starts with an M.
Mirrodin or something like that. Something like
Myra or
But you have to go like a very specific sequence of choices, or be in a very specific situation for her to want to join you.
You can
right?
get her in Act. Yeah, I guess Act 2. No, you can get her in Act 1, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you can get her in Act 1. You
'Cause
just can't. She's not a starter.
I have put, I think I'm at 48 hours in Baldur's Gate 3, and I have not left Act 1. So,
That's really sad.
no, wait. I'm in the mines, which is Act 2, right?
No.
that's Act 1.
Okay.
Act
Yeah,
1.
I'm in Act 1.
Yeah.
So I have a lot more of that game to play. But the thing was, they kept adding more stuff to it. Even after that game is what it is, afterwards they've made huge changes to like opening up endings for different characters to make them more satisfying or to give you more closure. And after a certain point, I was just like, I'm gonna wait until they're like actually done with this game because I know I'm not gonna put another 200 hours in it.
Yeah.
So I want to see everything.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of like, I was enjoying it enough that I was like, no, I want to see what this game is when they decide they're done with
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
what is their vision for this game in completion?
Yeah.
So I just put it on hold.
I'm excited to see what that studio does next.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
For
But
sure. Definitely keep an eye out.
truly, like, hats off to them. I don't know anything about development, but I know what I see from developers, and I know that I've never seen another studio that can do quite what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
well, for
wild.
it to, like you were saying, like, I think I only ran into like one real bug that I just loaded my last save and then it was fixed. But like, just like even the facial animations and all the voice acting and just everything was just like top notch. Like this
And
feels
the
like
depth
a
of the
real.
characters. Like, I
Yeah.
care about most of those characters.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously not Asterion. Just to get hate from absolutely
I was
everyone on
gonna
the
say
internet.
everybody's.
But yeah, I just can't believe like there are so many characters in that game that I have any like actual attachment to.
Yeah.
When you have that many characters and you're doing that much stuff, it's just wild.
My only complaint is Will doesn't get enough love as a character.
Oh, no, you can throw 'em off the
I
cliff.
think he had an interesting story arc, but I don't.
I liked his
I think
character.
a lot of people miss him.
I liked his character, and I was like, he just didn't feel as fleshed out as the rest. I was like, they should have done more with Will. But that's like,
That was about it.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Ryan, what you got?
I have a game that I picked up around when I got my PS4.
Wait.
This is a free-to-play game, and it came out on the PS4 first.
I know what this is.
And it was, I think it came out in 2016.
Overwatch.
I think that's right.
And I didn't have high expectations for this game because it is a Souls-like.
How can you not have high expectations for a game with a Grim Reaper and a skateboard?
The kookiness of the game was
Can't believe
like,
you're about to talk about this game right
dude,
now.
I love this game. Let it die.
Let it die.
Let it die.
I bet so many people have never heard of this game.
Oh yeah, I would not. I would be surprised if a lot of people.
Did you know it had a sequel?
What?
Is it also a free to play game?
I do not know because I cannot access it except on a PlayStation. It was on Steam for 6 months and then got shut down
That's so weird.
and is only on Steam or Sony,
What is it?
like PlayStation. It's called
Let It
like
Die?
Vengeance Let It Die,
Oh.
and it's like I think it's a fighting game. I didn't look too much into it when I realized I could not play.
Well, we'll look it up here in a minute after.
So Let It Die is.
It is a roguelite. It is a tower climbing game. Is that right?
That's not the genre, but that is what you do.
It's very-
It's
yeah.
a tower called Tower of Barbs, and it is basically a mountain made out of like a city, and it apparently is still growing, and no one understands it. But there's like, it's got this like religious context to it as well.
It's cool, man. The aesthetic in this game is so much my
it
aesthetic.
feels like the style of the graphics reminds me of Dead Rising, and the weirdness of the characters reminds me of Dead Rising.
That developer made a few other games that are just as weird.
Gun Ho.
He made. I think it's called Shadows of the Damned. Is that right?
Yes.
It's like a road trip.
Talking about Suda?
Yeah, Suda51 is the
Yeah.
name of the developer.
Grasshopper Manufacture.
Yeah,
Grasshopper is
And then
his
Gung
studio
Ho.
that he made.
Yeah, Gung Ho acquired them.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
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 Yeah.
Because they got. Yeah, I remember they got shut down when they got acquired by somebody else.
There was
and they
the game
got-
was actually going in a different direction. I did a little bit of research on it, and the game was going in an entirely different direction. And then Gun Ho acquired them and like changed the direction of the game.
I feel like this is a hard game to explain to people because it has
sure.
so many different things coming together that you don't typically see in one game.
There's a lot of mechanics to where it
Indeed.
starts to feel like a Monster Hunter game where they're just like,
Yeah.
here's
Yeah,
another
that's a-
thing.
that's a
Every
fair
time it
comparison.
introduces a new mechanic, there's like a little balloon that pops up in your hub world or out in the tower. You'll see it sometimes too. And it'll have like a little envelope attached to that balloon and it's just floating. And you open it and it's introducing like a new device that you interact with to help you in the tower. But you're basically trying to climb a tower and get to the top or as high as you can. And the idea is you start over and over getting higher and higher. And you can unlock shortcuts like elevators that get you up higher, so you can start off not at the bottom every time. But it has a cost, and it does have like express pass that you can pay monthly for that allows you to use like the elevator for free. And it gives you like other bonuses too. But they've surprisingly been updating that game. They had like a Halloween event that just happened.
Still working?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I picked it up
Did not know that.
because of this episode and doing research. I picked this game back up because I wanted to talk about it.
Oh, dude.
And I've just been hooked playing it. I was almost late today because I was playing it this morning.
I guess I should
Dude.
download it again on PS4.
It's free to play.
Yeah. The thing is, it doesn't feel...
It's on Steam.
It doesn't feel like grabby in the way that... Or at least in my memory. It doesn't feel grabby in the way other free-to-play games feel.
You do not have to spend a cent on this game.
Yeah, I remember my memory of that game is thinking like, they can't be making a lot of money off this game because they don't really incentivize you to buy stuff.
Yeah, the thing is like the season, it's not season pass, but the express pass that gives you the like membership benefits is expensive. It's like $15 a month, which
that's pretty
which is high for
I would expect
this
it to be
game.
like $5 or $6.
Well, the thing is they've been releasing events every so often where you can get the express pass on sale, but those items are still in the store. They didn't expire those events. So you can just go buy express pass for $5.
Interesting.
But they're one-time purchases, each one of them, but you can just go through.
So instead of paying $15 a month, you can go buy 4 months for $20.
I think they have like 6 different options that say this is a one-time purchase, but you can purchase each one time for $5. And then there's like 99-cent sales that they don't like end the sale. They just make a new sale later.
They just move on. It's like letting the Halo lets their season passes stay permanently, and you just pick which one you want to make progress in.
Yeah, sort of.
But so we skipped over the important part, I guess. It's like a third-person action game, right?
Yeah, it very much looks like if you watch someone play it, it looks like a Souls game. And I say it's a roguelite because you're constantly unlocking blueprints and you're getting this money that you keep, and you're getting like picking up like new healing items. You're leveling your character up just like a Souls game. You collect like souls from enemies you beat, and you use that as currency to level up. But you also play with multiple characters, and they even have like invasions now. It's like PvP sort of, but you just attack people's bases, like their hubs. And they set up defense with characters that they own to fight you when they invade. But they don't ever... You don't ever actually fight a real person. But you can send your characters out into the tower to hunt other players. And so that will happen to you like invasions in Dark Souls. You'll just see a named character. You'll see like their gamer tag or whatever you want to call it. And then you have to kill them. And you get a specific resource. I think it's called like SP lithium, I think, that you get when you kill. They're called haters. Is the people
that makes sense?
Yeah, you kill those people, and those are the invaders from other players. But it's never an actual player controlling that.
Yeah,
character.
gotcha.
And then also the same thing when you invade people's hub worlds. You're not fighting them. You're fighting what they've set up to defend their base or whatever.
Gotcha.
The idea is you attack when they're not home.
I like the idea of the base building games that let you set up defenses and then
they have some
like
customization.
Other people's.
They have customization options to the hub world, but I haven't got into that on my latest playthrough. But as you advance through the tower, you unlock new classes, but you have to like buy a new character and level them up. So you unlock like kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics. You'll get a new class, and you can level that person up. Yeah. So I just unlocked the one that has the biggest inventory space. So it's like a scavenger. So that's really nice. He's got like 30 inventory slots.
Do they have like static weapons, like or standard weapons per class?
No, you get blueprints that you take to this guy that looks like a hip Hitler. It's called Hitler. That's not his real name. I don't remember his name. He's got this weird like glass dome over his head, like an astronaut mask or something, but then he's got like a Hitler stash and this weird like combed hair. And he's like twirling a pen the whole time you're talking to him. It's
Suda51 has a very specific sense of humor.
It's
for sure.
You can't get away from it in this game.
But yeah, you deliver blueprints to him, and then you can rank up those blueprints. So you get like a bat, and then you get a bat +1 and a bat +2.
Okay.
So and then like certain armor has like stat requirements, so it's easier for certain classes to equip them at the get-go. But I
you
leveled
can
up
manipulate
the first class you get is like it's called all rounder or something like that. So it's just like he's a little bit good at everything. And there was no armor. Once I leveled him up max, which was you can do that pretty quick.
Yeah.
I could wear any armor I found or.
Nice.
So what's the
researched.
advantage of if you can level up the classes relatively quickly? What's the advantage of sticking with one?
Well, you can
class
level
over
up the
another?
one really quickly because he maxes out.
It's
quick
just the starter class that
yes,
maxes.
that maxes out.
I guess that's to incentivize you to move on.
to move to the next
Yeah.
one because it's going to be really difficult to do that. Although I'm sure people have.
So what did you expect with this game?
Really, really clunky. I expected it to just not have. I didn't expect it to hook me,
Yeah,
but it did.
like it did.
I didn't
It did
expect
for
to
sure.
think a Grim Reaper with a skateboard would be cool.
Yeah,
It's always been cool.
Well,
So
you actually-
The idea is cool, but usually the execution is bad. And in this case, I was like, I relate to this character.
He you don't realize it, but you're actually playing a game in a game.
yeah.
You're actually in an arcade playing a game,
Right.
and when you can leave the game and go to the arcade, you can't move around, but you can see the arcade. And there's
strange game.
there's a guy playing another arcade game who's beaten Let It Die, and he gives you tips.
That's hilarious,
It's
actually.
pretty creative, but
Yeah.
he there's constant jokes about him where he's like I'm really good at games, and I've been laid so many times, and I mean not in like real life, but like digitally, and that's better, I think. And he's just like
Clearly.
playing. He's like doing combos on this like fighting game with with the stick and stuff. And he'll just give you random tips that are actually super helpful that they don't explain very well in the tutorial.
Yeah, of
like he
course.
taught me how to reload guns. And I'm like, okay, didn't know. I thought I had to run out of ammo to reload them. And now
Yeah.
he's like, no, you just hold A and then hit whatever button is assigned to your melee weapon and you'll reload it. I'm like, okay, cool.
Great,
Yeah.
thanks.
And then there's a girl behind the counter where normally you'd go and turn your tickets in to buy some slappy hands, and she has quests that you take in the Tower
okay.
of Barbs.
That's cool.
And there's a ton of quests, and it has a backlog of event quests too that you
Yeah.
can do.
It's going to be fun using and finding footage for this.
No,
Maybe
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
just have to send me some
Yeah,
footage.
maybe. I think a big part of why I enjoyed that game a lot more than I thought I would is because, in a way, aesthetically, it looks like it's going to be a janky game.
Yeah, for sure.
But the combat feels pretty satisfying and pretty tight. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the kind of game where I feel like, especially as a free-to-play game, I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
times it's kind of like a claw machine in an arcade, you know? Like, it's designed to make you fail so many times. And
Right, exactly.
but it doesn't. I never got that sense when I was playing it. I always felt like it was
Yeah.
a skill-based combat,
yeah.
and not just like
I-
you need more stats. Your stats are just too low.
Yeah.
and you
Give us money and
It
we'll
doesn't
get you
matter
more.
how good
Yeah.
you are at the game.
Yeah.
You are stuck here.
it's
now.
got
Yeah.
it's got really cool things to do with the combat. It's got rage moves where you hold X if you're using a Xbox controller. And your character will like light up blue, and then you'll hit either your right trigger or your left trigger, depending on which weapon hand you want to use. And he'll do special moves with the weapon you're using. But you have to have your rage meter up, and different classes have different limits to their rage meter.
Yeah.
You start off with 3 as your max. And then they have Gore-tastic moves, which is like when you get a crit in Dark Souls, like you wear down their stamina,
Yeah.
and then they like stagger. You have to hold X, and same thing, same like button combo, but you'll see a prompt pop up.
Yeah.
And the screen will like turn black on the edges, and like it's kind of makes you focus on what's happening with the combat, and shuts everything else out. And your guy will just do some ridiculous combo that's over the top gory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Reaper dude will pop up and be like, "That was gnarly," and then he'll go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Game
Man,
is
I haven't
wild.
thought about that game in a minute, but I did
Me
really enjoy it.
either.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how many people have heard of it, played
Yeah.
it, or
Yeah.
even know what it is.
If I had a
Yeah,
complaint, if I had a complaint, it's a little annoying to just keep fighting like human like characters. They have different weapons just like
Yeah.
you can carry.
Right.
And they look different depending on what they're wearing, and sometimes they drop what
It's
they're
almost like a
using.
brawler in that
Yeah.
sense, that you're always fighting someone that's like about the same size as you,
Yeah.
and can use the same stuff you use.
Yeah. The bosses are unique. They're like sometimes they're huge or just crazy and they do ridiculous stuff. And then there are so far, I'm not very far in the game, and nor did I get very far the last time I played it. I plan on getting much further this time. But there are a few cool looking enemies scattered throughout. Like they're I can't remember what they're called, like screamers or something, but they're like these weird creatures. They've got like this pole head with like a cage around their head, and they've got these long blades, and they're just kind of like these dumb soldier things that you just kill easy.
I have a very muddy memory of this.
And then there's this
same.
other enemy that's like the toughest enemy to find just out besides bosses. Is it like flies around and has this like drill butt like a bee, and like will just sting you and deal half your health. And
Jeez.
you have to like dodge it, and then it gets stuck in the ground, and then you kill it.
Gotcha.
But those are kind of rough.
It's all or nothing there.
Save your ammo for those. There's like there's a magnum, and the rage move is like it turns into a cannon when you shoot it.
Nice.
And it's
Makes sense.
blows it.
Yeah, makes total sense.
So cool.
Very Suda.
Yeah.
It is super, super. If you like that game, you should check out some of his other games. He did Lollipop Chainsaw, Shadow of
That
the
makes
Damned.
sense. Yeah.
And there's one other game that he's pretty famous for, I think.
Didn't he do Killer 7? Or
It was
or he did not do Killer 7?
He did
No
do
More
Killer
Heroes?
7.
No More Heroes
is the one I was trying to think
Yeah,
of.
No More
yes.
Heroes for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
In
definitely.
the same vein, for sure.
Travis Touchdown.
Yep. Classic.
He certainly has a particular brand.
He sure does. Yeah. And he took full advantage of it when that game was released
yeah.
on the Wii.
Yeah, he sure did.
Why did you do that? You
Why,
know what
Suda?
you did.
You know what you did, and you did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and play that.
And I love recommending it because it's free to play. So it's
Yeah.
just-
That's
exactly.
true. Very low
Now
barrier.
it's
to
on the
entry.
Xbox now? Is that what you're saying?
I'm playing it on Steam.
Oh, on Steam.
it's on Steam.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Both very into that idea.
Yeah, the sequel is the one that got taken off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll check it out.
And it's not a sequel in any like except that it's just like has the name Let It Die. It was
Okay,
like
okay.
I think it was a brawler, like a Tekken style game, but I could be totally wrong. That's just what I
Ew.
got off some images.
I don't want that.
All right, Jaden, what's your final game?
Mine is so I played Fire Emblem Three Houses.
So what's your game though?
And I loved that game.
Ah,
I beat that game 4 times all the way through. And I was just jonesing for some more Fire Emblem, man. I wanted it so bad.
Okay.
And then they announced the next Fire Emblem game, and what is it? It's Fire Emblem Warriors, a Muso game.
Okay.
That is basically
I do not agree with this one.
I thought you were going to say Engage. That was going to be shocked.
welcome to my. I didn't touch Engage.
I wouldn't either.
There's no waifus. Why would I play it?
Indeed.
I expect this to be a controversial pick. But
No, I think it's great.
so let me go back a step. I've always played the.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to
There's Samurai Warriors.
Yeah.
There's the Empires games.
Why play
Get your
sequels? It's all the same game.
get
every
your
time.
hair off the mic. People can't hear my words of wisdom.
There you go.
What? My hair on the mic?
Yeah, I was doing a little. It was like an ASMR thing.
Yeah. Nice.
So a long time ago, was in Germany, and a friend of mine, who I've almost certainly talked about on this podcast before, was showing me around town. Just like found a game store, and there was a game, Samurai Warriors Empires 8, and he was like, "Have you played this game? Oh my god, it's so good!" And I was like, "I do not like those games. It's just a bunch of button mashing." For those people who don't know, it's the kind of game where it's like you versus hundreds of enemies on the screen, and you're just like cutting through literally an ocean of enemies, and then every
They
once
might
in a
as well
while,
be grass.
yeah, I mean,
you might as well be a
sometimes
mower.
literally,
Yeah.
and there's like captains or generals or whatever who are much stronger, and you have to fight them, and there's objectives. You're on this map, you know. But with the Empires, what I didn't know is the Empires games have a nation management system that lays over the top of this, where you are making decisions as an advisor to the emperor. And so there's like all these different territories that are controlled by all these different people, and you're trying to unite Japan. And so you have to, like, you make
Should be
decisions.
easy. It's pretty small.
It wasn't. It was not easy. It's cool because you can make your own character, but also I really liked the element of the game where you are managing the empire by deciding like this decision will like help farmers grow more food, which will give you more soldiers in combat.
Yeah.
Or this decision might give you access to more resources so that you have gold to upgrade stuff or whatever. But all this stuff is framed within these political decisions that you're making. And so there's like this overlying narrative of like, how do you unify Japan? You're making these decisions, and that actually affects how people see you in combat. So sometimes like villagers in an area will help you, or if you've made decisions that negatively affect them, they'll help the enemy and they'll like set up a trap for you or whatever. So it creates a lot more depth than the typical Warriors games did.
Yeah.
And so he recommended that game to me, and I checked it out, and I thought it was awesome, and I loved that game, and I played a ton of that game. So when Fire Emblem Warriors came out, I was like, I will give this game a shot, but I'm not really expecting anything. I just want to see the characters that I like. But it is an alternate reality where instead of being Byleth, which is the hero that you play as in Three Houses, in Three Hopes, you play as a custom character that you make. And they are like a mercenary, basically. And it's really interesting because it kind of flips this power dynamic where the big bad guy is Byleth, and they just call him the Ashen Demon because he just goes around wrecking everything. So the fiction is set up as if your end game version of Byleth is going around doing stuff that you don't understand, and you don't really know why he's doing what he's doing. But he's just like this huge menace that everyone's just terrified of.
I didn't know that part.
And so you're playing as this character, and you're recruiting people from the houses because the storyline completely diverges from Three Houses. It's like totally different playing out of events, but it's with the same characters.
Right.
And it's really interesting because you kind of get this hub area where you can still go talk to people and build up relationships with them. You go out on expeditions with them to like build up relationships. It has all those similar mechanics, but it has so much depth to how you can customize your character, and it has these really smart ways of incentivizing you to try something different, because the pitfall of these kinds of games is once you beat whatever character you're playing with, because you can switch and play with any of the characters on your squad, any of your generals, and you assign them soldiers that follow them around. And of course you can do like archers are going to follow this guy around, so he's going to be strong against a certain type of unit but weak against another one. So where you send him, you open the map in battle and you'll say, hey, go here. You have to be careful about where you send them, because depending on who they fight, they could end up just getting wrecked. But whoever you play as, if you play as the title character like I do pretty much exclusively and just issue orders instead of jumping around to them, they're going to get overpowered super fast. And it's going to be a joke eventually where you're even one-shotting the generals and stuff. So, and in this game, you get like weapons and stuff that you are upgrading and crafting new, better versions of and stuff. So and you change your classes and stuff like that. And so that's where these achievements come in, where you will get, say, an achievement for maxing out the warlord class, and you'll get X amount of points for that achievement. And then you can go to your campsite and use the points that you've accumulated to unlock exclusive stuff that you can't get any other way, like Byleth's sword, or a new character that is in the story, but you literally couldn't use them any other way.
Oh, okay.
And it really incentivizes you to play around and constantly be changing stuff and not just go and plow through the game and just like one-shot everybody.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
Is there permadeath? Did you say that?
You can, I believe you can set it to permadeath. But I never do that because the whole reason I'm there is for the characters.
Right,
So
yeah.
I don't want them to die.
Yeah,
And in
for
this
sure.
game, it can turn really quickly because reinforcements will show up and you'll be like, I didn't know that guy was going to be there, and now he's super weak to them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did not strategize for this.
Yeah, I did not strategize for this. And it's got the combat itself, the maps are much smaller. There are a lot less enemies, but it is more tactical.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you are constantly making these decisions over the course of the fight, and things will change. And it's interesting because the story will split in the same way that Three Houses does. And the ending will be different based on how certain battles play out. So if you don't get to a character in time to save them, they will die canonically, and the story will move in a different direction. Whereas if you had managed to get to them and cut off the enemy's attack and save that person, then it's a totally different outcome, and maybe you recruit them, or maybe you just get access to a whole new part of the map, or whatever.
Interesting.
And as you're playing through it, there's tons of strategy that you can use to like set up traps, or you kind of earn renown that you can apply to different strategies as you're playing. So it does a much better job than the typical Warriors games do of making you feel like what you're doing matters at all instead of just spamming the attack button over and over.
Yeah.
And it really captures what makes the Fire Emblem games fun for me, apart from the strategic combat. But that sense of progression and that sense of like potential that there's like so much stuff here to see and explore and understand and just like tinker with.
Yeah.
And I was really caught off guard by just how well it captured the spirit of those games for me. And I've beat that game like 3 times now.
Wow.
Which I never would have expected to do with a Warriors game.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's cheaper than their other games. I think
I'm
it was
definitely
like
sure it is.
$40 or something.
That can't be true. It's Nintendo.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I have to be wrong because it's Nintendo.
It's $55 when they do this huge sale.
Yeah.
They're like,
$5 whole off. It will never be cheaper than this.
Yeah.
this is your one chance to
Even
save
if it's
$5.
8 years old.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to. Basically, what I've done is justify that game this whole time instead of actually talk about it. But I do feel like that game just really caught me off guard with how thoughtful they were about making it feel not like every other Musou game.
The only Warriors style game that I've enjoyed was Drakengard. I don't remember specifically why. I played it so long ago.
That's just because it was a prequel to Nier.
And it's because that's one of the strangest facts about life to me. Is that it is a sequel to
I
Nier.
like that he calls it a prequel, and they're like, "Oh, it is," and he's like, "Yeah, it takes place like 10,000 years before Nier," and I'm like, "Well, then what's the connection?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The same universe.
So long ago.
Yeah,
Right.
so strange.
Yeah.
I remember playing some Dynasty Wars game. Couldn't tell you which one, but it's just like I can just hit one button over and over again, and I win. I could fall asleep and still win. But,
People love to win, man. So what's not to like?
The kids love to win.
Oh, they definitely do.
we will ship you the biggest trophy when you finally beat Dynasty
Oh
Warriors.
my gosh, you won't believe it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so huge.
Yeah.
It's just shaped like the one button you pushed.
Yep. Perfect.
And all that is to
square.
say,
Just a giant square.
It's gold square.
You pushed it so good, so many times.
Yeah.
You didn't even pause.
Yeah.
it has full combo chains as well, which doesn't really matter. But when you're like me and you have a character that's 40 levels above every other character on your team, it's nice to mix it up.
Yeah. You know what game that I don't know if it technically falls, you guys tell me, is see, now I can't even think of the game I was trying to think of. Is an Xbox original game something like Hero
something? That's a Musou game?
It's warrior style in the sense like you're fighting on a big battlefield with like killing lots of enemies, and you have different.
Is this
like,
the 1 million troops game?
No.
Oh, okay.
It is like medieval fantasy style. It's got like crazy cool enemies you're fighting.
This is the 1 million troops game. The sequel to it, he was bragging about it, and he was like 1 million troops, and everyone was dead silent, and he was like 1 million. Everybody like obligatory clap. 99 nights. That's what it was. 99 nights.
It's not that though.
It's not that. Nano Breaker.
Is that a real game?
Nano Breaker? Yeah, where the blood looks like jelly. Have you ever? You don't remember?
I don't
It's a
remember
Namco
Nano Breaker.
game. Yeah.
What
before
platform
they
was
were
it
owned by Bandai, huh?
What platform was it on?
Play it PS2, Xbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
That explains the blood.
God, it was like jelly, dude. It was.
This
I'm thinking of Jet Set, not Jet Set, Jet Force Gemini.
Jet Force Gemini, yeah.
When you blow up the bugs.
Kingdom
it's
Under
floppy.
Fire. Kingdom Under Fire.
Kingdom Under
Heroes.
Fire.
Kingdom Under
yeah.
Fire.
Okay,
I loved
yeah,
that
yeah,
game
yeah,
on the
for sure,
original
for
Xbox,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did you, just out of curiosity, what did you like about it that you don't find in the other Warriors games?
It had like you were controlling different armies and you had to like recruit, and you had these like the legendary heroes you could play as that were like the leaders of the armies had like special unique abilities, and it was PvP.
Oh,
Had PvP.
This is
okay.
coming back to me. This was original Xbox. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it looked like graphically it was like
Yeah, very,
it
very.
I
blew my
remember it
mind.
being
for sure.
Yeah.
pretty.
And then they had a sequel that came out in the 360 and it was like an action adventure type game, and it did not do well. I played it for a little while and I was like,
Wow,
man, this game
that's
is
like a
frustrating.
core memory unlocked. Reading about that
Yeah.
game not doing well is my
Yeah.
memory of it.
Yeah. My cousin had, I didn't have an Xbox. My cousin AJ had this game, and I'd go over there and play it, and I thought it was great.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's wild. Well, try if you ever feel like it, try Dynasty Warriors or not Dynasty Warriors.
It just has to
try
keep
Dynasty
me
Warriors.
engaged with the combat and the
No,
Dynasty.
don't play Engage.
The Dynasty.
Yeah, don't play Engage.
The Dynasty Warriors games I have played they were literally just too easy.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would
There's
just
a
fall
place
asleep.
for them.
This is that to some degree, but I like it's a power fantasy at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Like I like the strategic decisions you're making,
Yeah.
or it's really tactical decisions you're making. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I want to watch the little man fall down and not get up.
3 Houses is fantastic.
Three Houses is incredible.
So to have those characters back covering. So.
yeah, and they have new characters.
there's a
as
demo
well,
for it.
So yeah,
If I play a Dynasty Warriors game, I'm ready for bed at 8. If I play a game like Dark Souls or Let It Die, I'm up till 2 a.m.
so it's a great go to bed game. You
Yes.
heard it here first, folks.
Yes.
That's right.
We have a wide array of recommendations for you depending on when you want to sleep.
Don't spend month subscriptions on
No, don't do
your app that helps you fall asleep. Just play a Dynasty
It's
Warriors
a
game.
small one-time purchase of $40.
Yeah.
Or the free demo, which actually, now that you say that, I think is what actually hooked me on it.
Is the demo.
Because I played it and I was like, okay.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Are
then,
you guys ready for my last game?
No.
You want to guess?
Hang on. This is a game.
Do I wanna guess?
That is better than
Yeah.
I thought it would be.
no.
Have
Wow.
we talked about it on the podcast before?
Jared has brought it up multiple times.
Oh,
He actually brought it
it's
up.
Disco Elysium.
Today.
Oh, it's Disco Elysium.
Heck no.
Did you play it? Did you?
Why
play
you
it,
say it like
Thomas?
that?
Disco Elysium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed my time with it,
Okay.
but it wasn't better than I thought it was going to be.
It was. I was surprised I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it as much as you did.
Yeah. And
The only reason we're not talking about it is because we have already
Talked
talked
a lot about it. Yeah.
Well, throw it at me.
Uncharted 2.
Oh, I didn't hear him talk about that today.
We talked about Uncharted.
That game's gross.
I didn't hear him talk about that.
I'm not here to yuck your yum.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
an Uncharted guy.
I played Drake's Fortune. I think that's the first one for like 15 minutes, and I was like, "This game is clunky, and I do not like
I played
it."
one of them, and I'm pretty sure it's the second, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
I remember playing the first, I think it was the first one. I played it briefly, and when he jumps, he looks like he's running from bees, and I
Yes.
thought that was really funny.
Yes.
And then I played multiplayer. Yeah. I played multiplayer and was like, well, this is bad, which is a bad way to judge those games in particular. But it just, nothing about it was clicking with me. And a lot of what, this isn't my segment. You can go ahead.
Oh, you're fine.
I don't know why I'm all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to set up context for why I said gross when you said Uncharted 2.
No, it's fine.
It's
But
because it's charted territory.
I see
Nice.
the appeal of those games. I get it. Like they are as close to living an action movie as
Yeah.
you could
I
possibly.
just think-
Specifically, just the second one.
Didn't Tomb Raider just do it better?
Yeah,
Oh, there's definitely
don't
things
you
I
think
like
that
about-
Tomb Raider does it better?
Yeah.
There are things that I definitely.
How
like.
many people does she kill?
Huh?
How many people does she
Well,
kill?
she's her game's rated mature.
Oh.
It's a little bit more visceral.
That's because when you
that's
shoot
right.
people, it doesn't feel like you're playing paintball.
True.
When you shoot people in Uncharted, they go, "Oh, dang it! Oh, owie!"
There you go.
Yeah.
They say, "I'm gonna lay down,"
Red paint.
and then they
Yeah.
carefully and slowly lay down.
So-
on the ground.
You win.
So I played like 15
Like they're
minutes
in
of the
jazz
first
band.
game. Not a big fan. And the second game comes out, and my buddy John is just like, "Dude, play this game so we can play online together." I'm like, okay. So I'm in Chicago, I think around Christmas time, and I pick it up at GameStop. I come back home, and I play it, and I can't stop playing this game. The opening cinematic for that game is incredible, where he's on the train, and the train like basically careens off the cliff, and he has to climb up the train while he's like bleeding, and it's snowing, and he's got nowhere to go. And then it flips back to like where the beginning kind of what happened for him to get
Like a
here.
flashback,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I've never played a game that was basically like playing a movie. Like
No.
cinematic,
Yeah.
the way it's written, the characters, the facial animations. I'm like, what?
And I
People
think that's-
who
this?
I think
crawl
that's
out.
what gets me out of it, though.
Oh, I mean, I could definitely
I just
see
want
that.
to. I'll just watch a movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of how.
But like,
honestly, that's kind of how I feel about it.
but this game specifically, Uncharted 2, specifically set a precedence for other games, and there are so many other games that copied it right after all the success of this game. So, but I don't mind the combat. It does. I went back and played it specifically last night. It does feel very paintball-y. But at the time, I didn't really think
That's
much
how I
about
felt.
it. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know to what degree they did that to get a teen rating
I
because
think
they
so,
wanted
too.
it to be more mass appeal.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
what they just don't know how to make a gun feel good.
Yeah.
But yeah, for anybody who's crawling,
because in
out
The
from
Last of
underneath
Us,
their
it doesn't
rock for
sound.
this.
It does not like that.
All this game is cinema. This like
For sure.
cinema, like the camera angles of everything, the way that it pivots,
Oh,
the
the
way that
cinematography, yes,
which is
for
an
sure.
expensive way to make a game.
Very much
Yeah.
so. Yes.
Yeah.
that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they made a movie
Yeah, they made a
of the
movie.
game, and somehow it's so much worse than the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, it's
Like,
weird how they do that. Yeah, exactly.
I've never
I guess
seen
it would have been
Yeah.
too expensive to make the movie game into a movie.
movie.
know.
Yeah.
They should have just made a game.
Yeah, they should just
Yeah,
they should make
for
a game
sure.
based on the movie.
Uncharted the movie, the game.
Please don't. Please don't. Featuring Marky Mark.
That's right. Go on my wish list. Yeah. But no, dude,
Please
it's like,
don't be Tom Holland. That'd be amazing.
yeah. To switch roles.
Just Mike Tyson.
You can unlock the Spider-Man
gonna
outfit
steal that
for
twizzer.
Tom Holland in it.
Yes.
for that Twitter. Dude. Oh my gosh, man. But yeah. This game blew me away, man.
to you.
I'm gonna shoot you.
That video.
Oh man. But yeah, man, it's like at that time, dude, I had played nothing like it. Like cinematically, like all of like even the level design is very good, and then you get into the multiplayer, which I really loved the multiplayer. This is how gaming is gonna be now from now on. You know what I mean? It's like they're gonna spend all this time. It wasn't.
It wasn't. They don't
And
got the budget for that.
It's crazy,
I'm
dude.
thankful for that, though.
Well, I'm saying like the amount of care and
Yeah.
detail that they've spent into making a full, complete game.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is where.
The cognizance
This is where they're going.
of how like it is structured. I mean this in a complimentary way, but that it is structured as a film would be in the sense that they are like, we will cut here, we'll pivot to this camera angle, the character
Yeah.
will do this, and even though a lot of it is like button presses or moving around, what is happening around you, the scale of it is crazy.
Yeah.
Like the crashing helicopter scene and stuff like that. It's like, even if in the back of my mind, I'm like, I would rather watch this as a movie.
Yeah.
The fact that it's harder to make that not as a movie,
Right.
because you have to create every single component of that, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
like, and then they're doing mocap for all the characters for this, and I have to say, all of the characters are great in those games. I think that's a big part of why they're so enduring.
Yeah.
Because people really get attached to everybody in those games. So I'm not here to criticize it, but I'm just saying, whether you like it or not, those games do something most other developers wish they could do,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I was just like, because I wasn't expecting much at all. I was just like, oh.
They're
great.
Sony exclusive, right?
Yes. Well, they're on PC now.
They are on PC.
Yeah, they're all on PC now. Yeah.
But they're like a Sony title.
Yeah, it's Naughty Dog.
Yeah, I think it's
Naughty
licensed
Dog.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I forgot.
but
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
weird,
I was
right?
very surprised on how like into this game that I was. You know what I mean? But it's basically like just Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh,
with
yeah,
actually
for sure.
good movement and a good story.
Which is just Indiana Jones is just Tomb Raider. Which is just Uncharted.
Exactly.
Does that make Uncharted just Uncharted?
Pretty much. I mean, in a nutshell.
So,
Yeah.
do you have any feelings about the new Indiana Jones game that's supposed to come out?
Yeah, I'm
pretty
excited
soon?
to see it because it's
I couldn't
developed by
couldn't be more excited.
Machine Gun Games. Is it Machine Games or Machine Gun?
Machine something.
I think it's Machine Gun Games,
Okay,
isn't it? Yeah, the same people who did Wolfenstein, the reimagining ones. So
You couldn't pay me to play that game.
it's on Game Pass,
Dude,
so it's free.
Wolfenstein.
You couldn't pay me.
I will pay you.
Yeah, I won't accept your money. I will not play it.
That's what you said about Last of Us, and you love that game.
That's not what I said about Last of Us.
That is exactly. If I could go back in time, I would record
I
this
didn't
specific
say
conversation.
you can't pay me to play Last of Us.
Okay, you didn't say that, but
I
you're just
just-
like, I'm not interested. This
It's
game
just-
looks like blah.
It just looks super narrative driven, and I'm not usually into that. And then I was like
I mean,
super
yeah,
into the
You're
narrative.
getting older, Ryan. You're getting into narrative games.
Yeah.
You love jazz.
Expand
punk.
your horizon.
You love
That's
disco music.
I was a young lad when I loved jazz
Yeah.
punk.
Well, now you're just a
gonna
slightly
go back and
older
play
lad
them.
who loves jazz.
I'm
punk.
gonna go back and play and be like, man, I've matured. This game's terrible.
Oh no, I hope not.
Yeah.
I thought that game was so funny.
Yeah.
I hope I don't take that away from myself.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I think weirdly, up until now, the Indiana Jones game, I'm like, it's been delayed like 100 times. I think this game's going to be quite bad.
Yeah.
But I just was listening to a podcast where someone was saying that they got to see like an extended look at it, and they were like, that game looks pretty good. Actually. I think this game's going to be all right.
Yeah. Well, they also
Which
said that
was
about,
very surprising.
They
to
said
me.
that about Dragon Age Vanguard. And then it came out and everybody was like, this game's garbage.
I don't even know if that game is garbage or not because I haven't played it, first of all. Biggest reason I don't know. But second of all, I have heard that basically Veilguard was a game that was made by like 3 different studios, and which studio made which part of the game that you're in decides whether it's good or not. Because they said there will be moments where there's this incredible character writing and the pacing is so good and the story is so engaging, and then in the next scene it's like all of that never happened, and this character is just the most flat, stereotypical nothing that they could possibly be, and the writing is terrible, and everything sucks, and then it just waffles between these extremes over the course of the whole game.
Right,
So it's like maybe a third of that game is incredible, and a third of that game is quite bad, and a third of that game is just about average.
Yeah.
So you get the whole Goldilocks spectrum. I don't know, but it's such a shame to hear that game is like, even if you really like it, you will still only really like certain parts of it.
It dropped out of nowhere for me. I heard nothing about it, and then it was like, oh, there's an ad for this game. I wonder when it's going to come out. And it's like, it's out? I'm like, what?
This isn't an ad.
Yeah.
The game is here.
The game's here. Buy it now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I've never played any of these games except the first.
I loved Inquisition. And I actually really like 2. I know a lot of people don't, but I think
liked
the
the first
scale
one.
works well.
And then I
don't remember. I
Didn't like the
assume
third
I did,
one.
but I don't know if I liked. I don't remember the first.
they
one
went
enough.
more like action-y.
The combat is meh in the
Yeah,
third
It's always
one.
been kind of meh.
Yeah, but I like other elements of it, so I don't know. But I'm just saying, I think that maybe if they're really lucky, the Indiana Jones game might not be too bad.
I mean,
And
it's
that
on
would
Game
be
Pass,
crazy.
so what do you have to lose?
That's true.
I don't have Game Pass because
What?
I just
What?
I'll gift it to you. It's $10
for the
for PC.
for PC.
I'll gift you a PC one.
Man, it's just like
But
I just
not a
never
console one.
never used it, and it came like 3
What
months,
about-
and I just like spent like
there's
$30+
so-
on it, and I was like, I never used
There's
it.
So
so
you still
many-
playing that Ally?
Ally, the Rogue, or the Rog? Yeah,
It's the Rogue.
I like calling it the Rogue.
Yeah, the Rogue
Even though
Ally.
it's just ROG, and I don't know why it would ever be Rogue. I don't know what Talen's talking about.
I don't either.
Sounds better.
Yeah,
Just call it the
Ally.
Republic of Gamers.
The Ally is my.
Don't call it that.
I have been playing Breath of Fire on it.
Oh, I've heard about this.
I've been playing Let It Die on it.
Oh,
Have
nice.
you?
Yeah,
Is it running okay?
yeah, it runs great.
Oh, okay. See?
Yeah,
Perfect.
The ROG. I don't feel like the ROG is like the Steam Deck in that way. I feel like the Ally just kind of runs whatever you throw at it, or it doesn't. Whereas the Steam Deck is like, is it optimized for me?
Yeah,
True.
If not, I'm not going to take it.
I ain't going with it.
yeah.
I don't want it.
But anyway, guys, thanks for watching.
Oh yeah, it's over now.
Yeah, it's over now. And
It's over now.
thanks
Go
for
home to your
watching.
families.
Thanks for Sam Webster intro outro music.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
So much to appreciate him over this course of this whole entire
So-
year.
So much to appreciate him.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
No.
Take 2. What
Take
a
two.
failure. I can't imagine
and
a
tell us
worse thing
games
to
that
happen.
you played.
Yeah, please tell us what games that
Yeah.
you were just totally caught off guard by how good they were.
Indeed.
Don't tell us about the bad ones. We're done with that.
No, you can tell us about the battles. You can tell us anything.
Tell us
that
whatever
on.
you want.
Tell
We're
us
here
how
to
you're
listen. We're like a therapist, but we're free. And we'll always respond. Most of the time. Eventually. Also, if you ever have any suggestions or questions,
Yes,
you can always
suggest
send
away.
didisavepodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a review on any podcast platform.
You can find us wherever you can find us.
You can find our podcast wherever you can find us. And on our YouTube channel, it would be so good if you just like gave it a little thumbs up and subscribed. We love it. That number goes up, makes my whole day.
Yeah.
We're almost at 60.
1,000?
Killing it.
60,000.
We're having fun. That's the
Once we hit that 60,000 mark, we're going to throw a party.
Talen's in denial. Having fun doesn't matter at all.
Okay. All
I
right.
am
Don't
having
forget to
fun.
say thank you.
Oh, okay. Don't forget to say bye.
Don't forget to save.
I got this guy.